Hey, what's up, guys? This is Gus, back with another gameplay commentary. Gameplay we're looking at right now is from Halo 4 on the map Complex. Good game, like usual. Think I had some around 19 kills. Put in work. Check out the video. Enjoy it. But let's move on to the commentary. What I want to talk about today is I want to talk about the Lakers, how they're doing. It's been a while since I've put up a Laker commentary. Maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks now, 3 weeks. I just haven't been into it. Just haven't been fired up. You know, I was hoping that the Lakers would turn things around, but they continue to play like shit. And with the talent on that team, it's really inexcusable. I just can't explain it. You know, when the Lakers made all these moves in the offseason, I was like, okay, they're set. Now, I didn't think it was a guaranteed, you know, championship. I wasn't delusional or anything like that, but they made upgrades. They got Dwight Howard. Now, yes, he's been injured. He's working his way back. But Dwight Howard over Andrew Bynum, a healthy Andrew Bynum, I'll take Dwight Howard any day of the week. You know, so they got him. They upgraded from, what was it, Fisher or whoever our point guard was. I don't even know at this point. But they upgraded to get Steve Nash. Again, I thought that would eliminate a lot of our offensive problem, that offense would not be an issue this year. But it hasn't worked out that way. It really hasn't. I mean, let's look at the last, 5 games the Lakers have played. Now, they took care of business against Dallas at home. They beat them by 20. Pretty comfortable win. That's what they should do. That's what you should do at home against teams that aren't very good. You should dominate. You should not let these lesser teams hang around and have it, because that's the thing. When you let these teams hang around, these are NBA players, people. Even if they're the biggest scrubs, they're still NBA players, and anything can happen when you let teams hang around. And that's what the Lakers have made a habit of doing this year, is that they're either getting their asses kicked by better teams, or they're letting these lesser teams hang around. And what happens is they're not going to miss all the time. Sometimes they're going to make shots, and then you're going to be done. You're going to have a humiliating loss, and they've had plenty of those this year. So they beat Dallas. Next game against Memphis at home, they just barely get by. They win by 2 points. Now, I know Memphis is a solid team, but they're not great. They're not a great team. I don't expect them to make a lot of noise in the playoffs. But again, the Lakers just barely beat this team at home, and they should be in desperation point or mode at this point. They should be fucking fighting for every rebound, playing strong defense on every possession, but they're still not doing that. They're letting these teams hang around. And again, that was another game that they could have lost. Next game against the Clippers, they just got smoked. No ifs, ands, or buts, no other way to put it. They got their asses beat. They got their asses handed to them. Case closed. Clippers are the best team in LA. We'll see what happens, you know, when they have to start paying their guys more than the minimum. Chris Paul's going to have to be resigned, so we'll see how many, what their depth looks like after all these moves need to be made. But as for now, Clippers are the better team. New Orleans. Now, New Orleans, they beat them by, 8 points? But this was a close win. Kobe had to have a great fourth quarter in order to pull out this win at home against the Hornets. Hornets suck. Again, another team they let hang around that they could have lost to. And then yesterday, Portland, impressive win only because it was against the Trailblazers. But the Blazers didn't have anybody playing. I think they had LaMarcus Aldridge, but everybody else was pretty much hurt. Oh, and they had their rookie, what is his name, Damian Lillard or something like that. Great player. Great player. He almost smoked the Lakers, but that game was close. And that's the thing. You cannot continue to have these close games against these teams. Scrub teams or great teams, whatever, because it's going to bite you in the ass. And that's what, again, it almost did to the Lakers yesterday. A close win, a much-needed win. But again, these games against these teams, it shouldn't be that close. Now, I know everybody always uses the excuse, oh, these teams always, you know, step up for the Lakers, but that's just bullshit. The Miami Heat dominate these games. The Oklahoma City dominate these games. Spurs dominate these games. Now, of course, there's going to be times throughout the year where any team can get beat. I'm not saying that's not the case, but these sorry-ass teams continue to make these games against the Lakers competitive. So again, if the Lakers happen to make the playoffs, which we'll go over the rest of their schedule, in a couple minutes. But if the Lakers do make the playoffs, they're going to be playing against better teams. They're not going to be playing against teams with losing records. And you can't do this shit. You cannot have these games where you take plays off, where the games are always close and you're in desperation mode. You can't continue to have these games and think that you're going to have success, because these teams are going to be able to make shots at the end of the game. These teams are going to have experience. They're not going to be a bunch of rookies that are afraid to put up the last shot. They're going to have experienced players that have been there before and aren't going to let the Lakers get away with the shitty defense, the shitty offense. And that's the thing. At this point, the Lakers don't do anything great. They don't do anything great, and that's what they're missing, is that, for example, the Phoenix Suns, when they were good a few years back, everyone always grilled them about their shitty defense, but they didn't even have to play that much defense. Now, they didn't win any championships, but they came pretty damn close. That year when they lost against the Spurs, because they had a few people get suspended for a game or two, they were pretty damn close. And that's the thing, they were a great offensive team, so that allowed them to be competitive. But the Lakers, they don't do anything great. They don't play great defense. They might play a solid quarter of defense every game, if even that. And their offense, you would think it'd be a lot better. Now, I understand Nash has been out of the lineup, this and that, but when you got players like Gasol, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant, Anton Jameson, you got to be better offensively than what they've been showing. They've just been showing a lot of subpar basketball, and that's not going to get it done. I just don't see who they're going to be capable of beating at this point. I hope I'm 100% wrong. I know there's going to be a lot of you Laker fans that are like, well, how can you call yourself a Laker fan? But I hope I'm 100% wrong, and they fucking shock me and shock the world and take care of business. But I just haven't seen, even up at this point, that sense of urgency where everybody's hustling, where everybody's stepping up, where they're putting teams away. You think you're going to be able to play this kind of silly shit with Oklahoma City and they're not going to make you pay? When you have a team by the throat, you have to take them out. You have to go for the kill, and they don't do that. So we're going to see what's happened. I'm going to be posting another commentary next week, probably Thursday or Friday time frame, and I'm either going to be talking about what the Lakers need to do next year, and there's plenty of things that they're going to have to look at, or I'm going to be giving a commentary about the playoffs, Lakers' chances, as well as other teams. So stay tuned for that. And I really hope that the Lakers do step it up. But I just think at this point, it's just not going to happen. It's too late in the year. They're not getting their groove. They're still doing the same mistakes, leaving guys wide open. And the good teams always make you pay for that. And they just haven't changed. Now, whether this is because of coaching, individual players, again, we'll get into that at a later date. But just at this time, they're just not playing consistent basketball. They're not playing great basketball in any part of the game. So their chances of success, in my opinion, are just very low. They've got teams that have been there before that are playing the right way, playing good basketball, that are deserving of making the playoffs. And the Lakers are just, squeaking by. They're hoping that Kobe can bail them out, which is a sad thing if you think about it. Kobe, the great player that he is, he's having to basically break his back trying to get this team into the playoffs, and it's kind of sad what the Lakers have become at this point. But we'll see what happens. They're going to finish off these last 3 games against some pretty solid teams, so these next 3 aren't easy ones, and we'll see what happens. I'm GusCunnilin, and I'm out.